The funny thing that I think most people don't know is that you did channel the first
Yeah.
classes, and you had to listen to the recordings.
Yeah, I did.
To learn how to do the stuff.
Yeah, because it's like, I was out of my body.
So then what? So you listened to the recordings. Now, when you first started Access, did you know what you had? Did you have a clear vision? What was your inspiration? What is it that
it's
set
like,
you forth?
well, when I first started channeling, one of the things that he told me about was you have to look at what you would like your life to be and choose, the 5 or 6 things that you would know would make your life be what you want it to be.
Okay, I love that.
And that's become called the energy ball exercise since then.
Well, actually, just looking at your life in the first place.
Yeah. Well, looking at my life, and I realized, okay, I wanted to be able to travel at least 2 weeks out of every month.
Okay.
I wanted to be able to do something that was never boring, because I kind of got bored with everything, being a humanoid.
Can anyone relate?
Yeah. It's like, can you relate to that one? I got bored about everything. 3 days to 3 weeks, I would know how to do any job.
Right.
And it was like, and I was over it.
Right.
But I would stick around because I was trying to find my career.
Okay.
And it's like, and it just, there is no such thing as a career. It's like the reality is that we can do anything. And it's like, and I've been told my whole life, my parents used to say, you can do anything, but don't do this, and don't do this, and don't do this, because we don't like it. And I thought it was sort of like, wait a minute, if I can do anything, why can't I do anything? And I really wanted that information. So with doing the channeling stuff and him talking about this and taking all this energy of what I wanted to create as my life and pulling energy into it and letting little trickles go out to all the people who are looking for you and don't know it.
Okay.
And I did that, and that's when the call to go to
New York
came,
Oh,
right after
interesting.
that. And that was really funny. And he'd also said, anything that feels like that, go do it. Anything that doesn't, don't do it.
So you really listened.
I listened. Well, it's like my life wasn't working.
Wow.
I wasn't happy. I mean, I was working my tail off, getting nowhere, living in houses that I, rented because I couldn't afford to buy a house, driving cars that had, rooftops falling down on my head while taking my kids to private school. So, it's like, it was just like, wow, the struggle.
Okay.
And so I wanted out of the struggle, and I was looking for that. And the one thing that even today is something that I dealt with was the fact that I knew that I could only rely on me. I had to rely on me. Couldn't ask anybody else to give up their point of view, their reality, or anything else to find mine. I had to rely on me to know what was true for me. And that was one of the things that I had known a long time. And every cult or religion that I gotten involved in, give up your knowing for ours. No.
Well, that's one of the things that I think is one of the most powerful things that you facilitate and really give people is the knowing that really what it boils down to is your choices.
Yeah. And it boils down to actually trusting you. And it's like one of the things I always ask people to do is, look at where you knew you shouldn't do something and you did it anyway, assuming that somehow you could get away with it.
And it turned out as badly as you knew it would.
Exactly. And it's like, oh, that was my knowing. That was not a wrong choice.
Right.
That was my knowing violated. And I did it, not somebody else.
So as you've been creating Access for the last 20, is it 25, 30?
Going on 26 now.
26 years. As you've been creating this for the last 26 years, what did you do when you got to the places where you didn't totally feel like you could trust where you were going, or you felt thwarted?
I felt thwarted a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like I made all these great decisions about how I was going to get new people. So, I did
how you'd grow access.
By all the standard means, you get people to promote for you, you bring people in to try it, and then they choose to do it, none of which worked. And it's like what happened is everything I decided was going to work never worked. I began to go, okay, what do I need to look at different? What do I need to be different, do different, that's going to create this?
So what did you discover?
Well, what I discovered is actually somebody asked the Raz who I was channeling, it's like, what do we need to do to make our business successful? He said, call everybody you know and ask them questions about what they're doing and never say anything until they ask you a question about what you're doing.
He was so practical.
He was pragmatics. I'm really into the pragmatics of it all.
Right.
And so it's like I did. I called everybody I knew, and I called them every couple of weeks for months. And then when they would finally ask, what are you doing now? I go, well, I'm doing this new stuff that I call Access. And it kind of seems to change a whole lot of stuff for people. It's, it's really easy to do. And I'm doing a class. Do you know anybody who might be interested? You never ask them direct. Do you want to do it? And they go, well, no. But you know what? I know a whole bunch of people who might be interested in this. Let me get a group together for you to demonstrate. And so I began demonstrations from that. And I wasn't looking on the one-on-one success because I'd learned long ago in being in the upholstery business that one-on-one didn't work, but energy comes from strange places by the energy you put in the world to create something. And I'd learned that while doing doing that and real estate and stuff, because people would come from the strangest places.
Okay.
And so I realized that it's not a direct line. You don't talk to somebody and then they do it. You talk to this person who then recommends you through 3 other people, and it gets there.
And I watched you, quite frankly, for the first 15 years.
Yeah.
Really, I think a lot of people, if you guys that are watching this, like, if you know Access, you know the powerhouse that it is today, and it's probably touched your life dynamically and touched many lives of the people that you know. And for those of you guys that might not be familiar with Gary or I yet, or Access, it came from small beginnings.
Yeah, and it's always one step at a time. How,
Cool.
it's like, where do you start? And it's like, I actually had this guy who was doing facilitation of a different modality. And he asked me, what kind of success do you want to have? And I told him, and he said, so what would you have to do before that? And so I kept tracing it back. And 2.5 hours later, I got to the awareness that what I'd have to do is get out of bed in the morning.
Oh.
That's the first step.
Practicality again.
Get out of the bed. Get out of bed and start.
Right.
And when you realize that it's like, okay, it's real simple to succeed. Get out of bed and start. And talk to people. Call people that you know. Talk to people. Find out what they desire, what they require, what they are looking for. And then speak to that.
Cool. Yeah, because you've really grown by talking to people and by getting out of bed in the morning and getting out of bed in the morning. But on top of all that, you deliver and present a very different form of stuff.
Possibilities.
Possibility.
Yeah,
and I have so much respect for what you've done. Not just because you're my father, because I've actually seen the empire that you've built.
And you've actually duplicated and done that yourself.
Yeah, and I've taken a lot of his advice, a lot, and applied it to my life and grown things. And, it's like I've been able to achieve things that most people my age can't and won't and maybe never will.
Maybe never will. Yeah.
Because of the powerful tools of Access and the incredible gifts that you give, and of course my choices.
Yeah, but that's the most powerful tool. And for me, it's like that's the one thing my parents had given me, choices that I knew I had to give my children. And it's like, raising you and the other kids, it's like always it was about how do I get you to recognize what your choice is going to create, not how do I control you, not how do I show you that you have to be responsible, not, there's consequences to your actions. I think I only said that once, and then I went, okay, that's bullshit. And I actually said that to you or Sky, one of the two. I went, that's just bullshit. You're not there's no consequences of your actions. Your actions create. So what are you creating with this choice? And it's like when I asked that question, you'd all go, what? And it was amazing. And I would show you how choice created. Like one of the things you guys did, which I thought was so wonderful. When you were kids, I'd go, this person doesn't like kids. I said, well, okay, so if somebody was a kid and they don't like kids, what did they learn as a kid? To like themselves or not?
Right.
And you went, oh, they don't like themselves. Okay, good, I'm over it. And you would get over the upset you had with somebody who didn't like themselves and was blaming it kids were bad.
Cool. Yeah, well, you've shown me about 1 million times about getting over upsets and seeing clearly through things that really has nothing to do with there being a problem in life, but simply by being aware of what's actually going on in the world.
Yeah. That's the reason those 4 questions are so important for people to get. What is this? What do I do with it? Can I change it? And if so, how do I change it?
Again, very practical.
Yeah.
Again, very practical.
I like those practical things.